Ladies and gentlemen, there is immense power in the words we speak, not just to others, but to ourselves. Each morning when you wake up, what do you tell yourself? I'm tired. I can't do this. I'm not good enough. Or I'm here. I'm trying. I'm strong. The truth is, the words you whisper to your soul become the script of your life. You see, your mind listens and it believes. If you say, I'm broken, your spirit will start to crack. If you say, I am healing, the pieces begin to come together. Words are not mere sounds. They are seeds. What you plant grows. I've seen people trapped not by their situations, but by the sentences they repeat. I can't. It's too late. What's the point? But the moment they change their vocabulary, they change their destiny. I'll try. There's still time, I matter. That shift isn't small, it's everything. You don't have to scream to be heard. Speak gently. Speak truthfully. Speak kindly. Not just to others, but especially to yourself. Your inner voice should be your biggest supporter, not your harshest critic. Start today. Replace I'm not enough with I am learning. Replace I'm failing with I am growing. Replace this is the end with this is a new beginning. Life doesn't change when circumstances change. Life changes when our words change, because our words shape our beliefs, and our beliefs shape our actions, and our actions shape our lives. So next time you look in the mirror, don't look for flaws. Look for strength. Speak to your reflection like someone you love, because the relationship you have with yourself is the foundation for everything else. Change your words, and you will change your life. Your words shape your reality. The language you use, especially toward yourself, directly influences your mindset and your life's direction. Inner dialogue is powerful. What you say in silence matters most. Your inner voice can either lift you up or tear you down. Words are seeds, positive or negative. Every word you speak plants a seed in your life. Choose carefully what you want to grow. Small shifts create big changes. Replacing just a few negative phrases with empowering ones can completely transform your outlook. Speak to yourself with kindness. Treat yourself with the same compassion you offer others. Your words should heal, not harm. Change begins with expression. True transformation doesn't begin with action. It begins with a change in how you speak and think. The words we speak have a profound influence on the way we see the world and, more importantly, how we see ourselves. What many people don't realize is that our words don't just describe reality, they shape it. From the moment we begin our day, the words we use become the lens through which we experience life. If you wake up and say, today is going to be hard, your mind immediately starts looking for reasons to confirm that belief. But if you wake up and say, today I will grow, you invite your mind to look for opportunities, for lessons, and for small victories. Our thoughts and our words are intimately connected. The more you say something, the more you believe it. And the more you believe it, the more you live it. This is not magic, it's mindset. When someone constantly tells themselves, I'm not good enough, I always mess things up, or nothing ever works out for me, those phrases become deeply ingrained truths. Not because they are true, but because they are repeated so often. The brain begins to accept them without resistance. They become mental habits. And like all habits, they are hard to break, but not impossible. Now imagine flipping those phrases. I'm doing my best. I learn from every mistake. Good things are coming my way. These are not just empty affirmations, they are powerful beliefs in the making. When spoken consistently with conviction, they begin to rewire your inner world. Your words shift your focus from failure to resilience, from lack to possibility. Think about this. Two people can face the same challenge, losing a job, failing a test, facing rejection. One says, I'm worthless. This always happens to me. The other says, "This is hard, but I will find a way through." The situation is the same, but the outcomes are different. Why? Because the second person used words that gave them hope, words that moved them forward, words that opened doors in the mind instead of slamming them shut. The truth is, our words are like paintbrushes. With them, we color our experiences. We can paint a picture of despair, or we can paint one of strength and courage. The choice is ours. Even in the most difficult circumstances, the way we speak to ourselves determines whether we become stuck or start to grow. This doesn't mean we deny pain or pretend to be happy all the time. It means we become conscious of how we describe our pain. Instead of saying, "I'm broken," we can say, "I'm healing." Instead of saying, "I can't," we can say, "I'm learning how." That shift, small as it may seem, makes all the difference. It allows space for hope. And where there is hope, there is movement. And where there is movement, there is life. So if you truly want to change your life, start by listening to your words. Are they lifting you up or holding you back? Are they building your future or dragging you deeper into the past? Speak with intention. Speak with compassion. Speak as if your life depends on it, because it does. Your words are your power. They are the foundation upon which you build your reality. Choose them wisely, speak them with purpose, and watch how your world begins to transform one word at a time. The most powerful conversation you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. It is silent, constant, and often unnoticed, but it shapes everything. We are always listening to that inner voice, whether we realize it or not. It's the voice that comments on our reflection in the mirror, the voice that responds when we make a mistake, the voice that speaks in moments of failure, joy, or doubt. And the tone of that voice determines the tone of our life. Most people are far more careful with their words toward others than they are with themselves. We try to be kind, polite, and encouraging to friends, family, and even strangers. But when it comes to the self, the language often becomes sharp, critical, and cruel. "I'm so stupid. Why do I always mess things up? I'll never be good enough." These are not just fleeting thoughts. They are messages repeated over and over, forming the foundation of how we see ourselves. This inner dialogue is powerful because it becomes our truth. The mind doesn't always distinguish between what is said by others and what is said by ourselves. If you hear a message long enough, it begins to feel like reality. That's why so many people live inside cages built from their own words. Cages of doubt, fear, and shame. And they wonder why they feel stuck, even when nothing external is holding them back. But here's the good news: that same voice can become your greatest ally. It can be the voice that says, "I've been through worse and made it." It can remind you, "I'm allowed to fail and still be worthy." It can whisper, "One step at a time, you've got this." This isn't about blind positivity, it's about balanced truth. It's about choosing to speak to yourself with the same compassion you would offer a loved one in pain. The inner voice reflects our self-worth, and at the same time, it shapes it. It's a two-way mirror. What you believe influences what you say to yourself, and what you say reinforces what you believe. That's why changing your inner dialogue is one of the most transformative things you can do. When you start to replace harshness with encouragement, criticism with curiosity, and doubt with patience, you begin to rebuild the relationship you have with yourself. Imagine standing in front of a friend who's hurting. Would you tell them they're a failure? That they'll never get it right? Of course not. You'd probably say something like, "I know it's hard, but I believe in you." So why not offer yourself the same kindness? You are the one person you will spend your entire life with. Isn't it worth making that voice inside you a friend instead of a foe? Developing a kind inner voice doesn't mean you stop being honest with yourself. It means you become constructive instead of destructive. Instead of saying, I'm terrible at this, say, I'm still learning, and that's okay. Instead of saying, I'm a mess, say, I'm figuring things out one day at a time. These small changes shift your energy. They build resilience instead of defeat. They make room for growth. At the end of the day, no one hears your thoughts more than you do. So fill them with words that nurture your soul. Let your inner voice be your support system, not your worst critic. Because when you start speaking to yourself with love, belief, and grace, you start living from a place of strength. And that changes everything. Words are not just sounds that pass through our lips, they are seeds. Every word we speak, every phrase we repeat, plants something in the soil of our mind and heart. The kind of words we choose determines the kind of life we grow. Just like a farmer carefully selects good seeds to ensure a healthy harvest, we must be mindful of the words we sow into our daily lives, because they will take root. Whether they bloom into something beautiful or turn into weeds that choke our confidence, that outcome is largely up to us. If you constantly plant words of doubt like, I can't do this, I'm not smart enough, or nothing ever works out for me, then don't be surprised when your life begins to reflect fear, insecurity, and hopelessness. Those words settle deep within, growing into limiting beliefs. Over time, they begin to shape your identity. You start to see yourself not as you truly are, but through the lens of those negative seeds. They cloud your potential, stifle your ambition, and rob you of joy. But here's the truth: if you can plant doubt, you can also plant faith. If you can sow fear, you can also sow courage. The soil doesn't care what kind of seed you plant, it will return what you give it. So why not choose words that bring life instead of words that drain it? Start planting seeds of strength. I am capable. I am learning. I deserve peace. Speak words of healing. I forgive myself. I am growing. I am worthy. Speak words of hope. Better days are coming. This is just a chapter, not the whole story. When you speak like this consistently, you create a garden of positivity in your mind, a safe space where confidence, peace, and purpose can grow. Of course, change doesn't happen overnight. A seed doesn't sprout the moment you put it in the ground. It needs care, patience, and light. In the same way, the words you speak won't transform your life instantly. But if you keep speaking them, believing them, and living them, something begins to shift inside you. Over time, those new words take root, and your mindset starts to align with the life you truly want to live. It's also important to remember that your words don't just affect you, they affect everyone around you. When you speak with encouragement, you plant seeds in others too. A kind word to a friend, a child, or a colleague can stay with them for years. Just as a harsh comment can wound deeply, a sincere compliment can uplift someone in a way you may never fully understand. So be generous with words that heal, words that build, words that carry light. Start observing your language. What are you planting each day with your words? Are you speaking out of habit or intention? Are your words watering hope or fueling fear? Every time you open your mouth, you have a choice to create or to destroy, to lift or to lower, to build up or tear down. That choice, though small in the moment, carries a weight that echoes through your actions, your relationships, and your future. Speak as though every word matters, because it does. Speak with intention, speak with love, and speak with the awareness that your life will grow in the direction of the words you feed it. Plant wisely, and in time you'll harvest something beautiful. Transformation doesn't always begin with grand gestures or dramatic shifts. Often it starts with something as simple and subtle as the words we choose. Small shifts in language, just a few changed phrases, can quietly reshape the way we see ourselves and the world around us. That's the quiet power of mindful speech. We don't need to move mountains overnight. We just need to change the way we speak about the climb. Think of how many times you've said, I can't do this, without even pausing to consider if it's true. That one sentence can become a wall, stopping progress before it even begins. But what if you simply said, I don't know how yet, but I'm willing to try? It doesn't sound revolutionary, but it is. That small shift opens a door where before there was only a dead end. It allows curiosity to step in. It creates room for growth. Our brains are wired to believe repetition. So when we constantly say something, whether it's empowering or destructive, our minds start to accept it as fact. That's why replacing even one habitual negative phrase with a more constructive one is not just a linguistic change, it's a psychological one. Saying I'm terrible at this becomes I'm improving every time I try. Think of how many times you've said, I can't do this, without even pausing to consider if it's true. That one sentence can become a wall, stopping progress before it even begins. But what if you simply said, I don't know how yet, but I'm willing to try? It doesn't sound revolutionary, but it is. That small shift opens a door where before there was only a dead end. It allows curiosity to step in. It creates room for growth. Our brains are wired to believe repetition. So when we constantly say something, whether it's empowering or destructive, our minds start to accept it as fact. That's why replacing even one habitual negative phrase with a more constructive one is not just a linguistic change, it's a psychological one. Saying I'm terrible at this becomes I'm improving every time I try. You don't need to be rich, famous, or extraordinarily talented to change your language. You just need awareness. Start by listening to yourself. Notice what you say in moments of stress, disappointment, or fear. What is your automatic response? Then ask yourself, is there a softer, stronger, or more helpful way to say this? It might feel awkward at first, like learning a new language, but with time, it becomes your native tongue. These shifts also influence the way others respond to you. When you speak with a mindset of growth and self-compassion, people notice your energy changes. You begin to create a more encouraging environment, not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. Your words become an invitation for others to believe in their own ability to grow and change too. The most powerful changes in life often start with the smallest steps. And there is no smaller, more powerful step than changing a single sentence. One sentence can change your mindset. A changed mindset can change your decisions. And those decisions over time can change your entire life. That's the ripple effect of language. So the next time you catch yourself saying something limiting or discouraging, or pause, replace it with something kinder, something truer, something that keeps you moving forward. You don't have to overhaul your whole vocabulary overnight. Just start with one phrase, one shift, one breath of compassion. Those small changes are not small at all. They are the beginning of everything. There is a quiet kind of power in kindness, especially when it's directed inward. Most of us have been taught how to be kind to others, how to listen, how to comfort, how to offer words that soothe pain or lift someone's spirit. But when it's directed inward, most of us have been taught how to be kind to others, how to listen, how to comfort, how to offer words that soothe pain or lift someone's spirit. But we were never really taught how to do that for ourselves. We are quick to forgive the mistakes of others, but harsh when it comes to our own missteps. We cheer for friends when they try something new, yet criticize ourselves when we dare to dream. We encourage others to keep going while telling ourselves to give up. The truth is, the relationship we have with ourselves sets the tone for everything else in our lives. And that relationship is largely built through the words we use in our own minds. When you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough, that you're always falling short, that you should be further ahead, you chip away at your own confidence little by little. Eventually, those words become a belief system, and that belief system becomes your reality. But it doesn't have to be that way. You have the power to change the way you speak to yourself. And when you do, everything shifts. Because self-kindness is not weakness, it's strength. It takes courage to look at your flaws and still choose to love yourself. It takes awareness to catch the voice of your inner critic and gently replace it with one of compassion. Start by noticing how you talk to yourself during the hard moments, the times when you fail, when you feel rejected, when you don't meet your own expectations. Or your words filled with blame and punishment? Or do you offer yourself the same grace you would offer a loved one? You wouldn't tell a friend, "You're so stupid for making that mistake," or "You'll never get this right." You'd say, "It's okay. You did your best. You're still learning." Imagine how much lighter your own heart would feel if you spoke to yourself that way. Being kind to yourself doesn't mean you never hold yourself accountable. It means you do so from a place of love, not judgment. It's the difference between saying, "I failed," and that proves I'm worthless, and saying, "I failed," and that shows me where I can grow. One voice locks the door. The other opens it. Self-kindness also means giving yourself permission to rest. It means accepting that being tired, overwhelmed, or unsure doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. So often we wear struggle like a badge of honor, pushing ourselves beyond reason, silencing our needs in the name of productivity or perfection. But growth doesn't come from constant pressure. It comes from balance. And balance begins with self and speaking gently in return. When you change the tone of your inner voice, you become safer within your own mind. And when you feel safe inside yourself, you're more open to growth, connection, and joy. You begin to show up in the world not from a place of fear, but from a place of wholeness. You don't have to prove your worth, you already have it. You just have to speak to yourself in a way that reminds you of that truth. Let your words become a source of comfort, not criticism. Be the voice that says, "I see you trying," even on your worst days. Be the voice that says, "You are enough," even when you're not where you thought you'd be. Because when your inner voice becomes your ally, life feels a little less heavy and your path forward becomes a lot more clear. Change doesn't begin with action. It begins with expression, with the words we use to describe ourselves, our lives, and what we believe is possible. Before we take a single step forward, we speak. And those words either give us the courage to move or the fear to stay stuck. That's why changing the way you speak is often the first and most powerful step toward transforming your life. We tend to think of change as something that happens from the outside in. We move to a new place, start a new job, join a gym, set big goals. But lasting change always starts from the inside. If your internal dialogue doesn't change, then no matter where you go or what you do, you'll carry the same patterns, the same doubts, the same fears. The way you speak to yourself is a reflection of what you believe about yourself. And beliefs shape behavior far more than willpower ever could. Imagine someone who constantly says, "I'm not ready, I'm not the kind of person who can do this," or "It's too late for me." Even if they are surrounded by opportunities, even if they have the talent or the resources, those words will act like chains. They might take a few steps forward, but they will always end up back in the same place, pulled by the weight of their own language. Now imagine someone who says, "I don't know how yet, but I can learn," or "I've made mistakes, but I'm not finished." Those words create space for movement. They open the door to growth. Your words create your environment long before your actions do. They influence what you try, what you avoid, what you pursue, and how you recover when things don't go as planned. That's why it's so important to become conscious of what you're saying, not just out loud, but in your mind. Every time you tell yourself you're too broken, too late, or too far behind, you push yourself further from the life you're capable of living. But when you begin to speak with belief, when you start replacing limitation with possibility, you unlock something powerful. Think of your words as the soil in which your next chapter will grow. What kind of environment are you creating with your language? Is it harsh, critical, full of doubt and fear? Or is it compassionate, hopeful, open to the unknown? The moment you begin to speak differently, you begin to see differently. And the moment your vision changes, your direction changes. Changing your words is an act of courage. It means letting go of old narratives that have felt familiar, even if they were painful. It means allowing yourself to dream again, to believe in a different version of your future. That can be uncomfortable. It requires vulnerability, but it also brings freedom. When you shift your language, you stop repeating your past and start creating your future. This doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect or ignoring hard truths. It means telling those truths in a way that leaves room for growth. Instead of saying, "I'm stuck," say, "I'm searching for a way forward." Instead of saying, "I failed," say, "I learned something important." These may sound like small differences, but they are not small at all. They are the bridge between where you are and where you want to go. Your story is not set in stone. It is still being written. And every word you speak is a stroke of the pen. Choose words that carry hope. Choose words that reflect the strength you forgot you had. Choose words that lead you toward the life you deserve. Because real change doesn't start when you move your feet. It starts the moment you change your voice.